What's going on, guys? The blessed month of Ramadan is here again, and this is my favorite time of the year. Today, I'm going to be taking you through a couple tips on how you can train and eat during Ramadan in order to maximize gains. So let's get right into it. So what is Ramadan? For those who don't know, Ramadan is a holy month for Muslims where they fast from sunrise to sunset for 30 days. During this fasting period, we're not allowed to eat or drink anything. And the goal of Ramadan is to teach us patience, discipline, and to ultimately get closer to God. Depending on where you live, the fast can be anywhere from 8 hours all the way up to 20 or 21 hours. So working out during Ramadan can be a challenge. It's a big misconception that you're going to lose strength and muscle mass during Ramadan, because if you train properly and eat right, then you can make some of the best gains during this month. First things first, when it comes to fitness in Ramadan, you have to set a realistic goal. During Ramadan, you're going to be eating less, drinking less, and sleeping less. And on top of that, you're going to be busier doing other things. So if your goal is to work out 6 days a week and gain 5 pounds of muscle, that's not going to be happening, alright? Let's be realistic. But if your goal is to maintain your strength and muscle and improve in a different level of fitness, that can happen. If your goal is to go on a little weight cut, that can easily happen. If your goal is to improve your flexibility and your mobility, then that can definitely happen, alright? So pick a realistic goal. Also, be realistic with how much you can work out. If you have a large family and you're always going to be going out to break your fast in other areas, then maybe 5 days of working out isn't going to work for you. Maybe you have to stick to 2 or 3 days, and that's okay. Personally, what I do every single year is I stick to bodyweight training. Outside of Ramadan, I'm always doing a lot of heavy lifting, I'm doing a lot of sprinting and a lot of high intensity workouts. So during Ramadan, keeping things low intensity feels really good on my body. And my goals switch from building strength and explosiveness to maintaining that strength and explosiveness and improving my level of flexibility and specific skills that I want to get good at. During Ramadan, I spend a lot more time with family, I spend a lot more time praying, spend a lot more time at the mosque, so I know that I can hit these bodyweight workouts in my house and that these goals are not out of reach. How to train during Ramadan? I would lower the overall intensity and the volume. For example, if you're able to do 50 push-ups in one go, just do 40. Or if you would normally do 10 squats with 200 pounds, then do it with 150 pounds. You want to prevent fatiguing the muscle, as that's going to limit your recovery. Focus on compound movements. Compound movements are movements that are using multiple muscle groups at once. So for example, push-ups, squats, pull-ups. I would avoid doing too many isolation exercises, as you want to preserve as much energy as you can. Stick to moderate rep ranges. I would avoid doing exercises that are as many as you can or bringing the muscle to complete failure, because like I said, when you fatigue that muscle, it's going to limit recovery, and you're already eating less, drinking less, and sleeping less, so you don't want to put yourself at any more of a disadvantage. So when is the best time to train during Ramadan? Well, there is no best time, because this is going to vary from person to person based on when you're available and based on the type of workout you are doing. There's 3 options that I recommend. The first option is before suhoor, which is the morning meal before you start fasting. This is a good option because your body is fueled up from the meal you ate the night before, and you're able to eat directly after before sunrise. One downside of training before the suhoor is that it's very early in the AM. It could be 3 AM wherever you live, and it's going to disrupt your sleeping, but if you're not bothered about your sleep cycle, then that's fine. The second option is training right before iftar, which is the meal right before breaking your fast. In my opinion, this isn't the greatest time to train, because at this point you've been fasting for many hours, so your blood sugar levels and your water levels are pretty low. So if you are going to train at this time, I would recommend something very low intensity like a light run or some basic exercises that aren't going to make you sweat or breathe too heavy. The good thing about training before iftar is that you can eat and drink directly after, and it's not at a crazy time that's super late or super early in the morning. The third option is after Taraweeh, which is the night prayers. In my opinion, this is the best time to train because it's a couple hours after that evening meal, so your food is digested and your blood sugar levels and water levels are all back to normal. So this is the time where you can put in the most intensity. Still not crazy high intensity, but more intensity than if you were fasted. One downside about this is that it's late at night and it could be around 11 or 12 a.m. and that could be a big problem for a lot of people, but if it's not, then this is a great time to train. So what and how to eat during Ramadan? This is actually one of the toughest things, especially because the eating window is so small. So when you're able to eat, you want to make sure that you're eating those nutrient-dense foods that are actually going to help you. And this is really tough as well because a lot of times if you're breaking your fast with other people, there's normally a lot of sugary and oily foods. So you have to be mentally strong and you have to be smart and pick those foods that are going to help you and not hurt you. Believe it or not, people actually end up gaining weight during Ramadan because when they're able to eat, they're just indulging in all these sugary foods and these greasy, oily foods. And you do that for 30 days straight, yeah, you're gonna gain some weight. So like I said, you gotta be strong and you gotta be mentally aware of what you're putting into your body. So here's what I recommend you eat for suhoor, that meal right before you begin fasting. I recommend you eat foods that are slow digesting so it helps you stay full longer. So you want to eat high complex carbohydrates such as whole grains like oatmeal or pasta. You want to eat beans, which are great because they're high protein and they're high fiber. You want to eat fruits and veggies that are high in fiber like broccoli, apples, berries, bananas. These are going to keep you full for a long time. You want to eat healthy fats. So naturally, healthy fats take a lot longer to digest. So things you can eat are nuts or avocados, a bit of olive oil in the food. Those are wonderful. You want to consume high protein. So eggs are wonderful. Plant proteins are great because those are slow digesting. Casein protein, whether it's from the supplement or it's from cottage cheese, those are all wonderful because not only are they high in protein, but they're slow digesting. So even after you consume it, your body is still producing that protein synthesis hours later. And water intake. This is huge. You want to intake lots and lots and lots of water. That's going to keep you hydrated and that's going to keep you feeling energetic. I would avoid eating foods that are too salty because that's going to make you feel even more thirsty throughout the day. What to eat for iftar? When it comes to breaking your fast, this is extremely important. Like I said, you've been fasting for a while, so your blood sugar levels are lower, your water levels are lower, and so you need to consume fast digesting foods so you can absorb these nutrients as soon as possible. You want to consume protein so it prohibits the breakdown of muscle. You want to consume carbs so you can fuel your workout, whether you've already worked out or you plan on working out later. So some of the best foods you can eat are dates. Dates, I'm sure most of you already eat it when you break your fast, and that's great because they have fiber, they have carbs, they have sugar, and they have electrolytes. Another great thing to eat are watermelons, melons, and pineapples. These are wonderful because they are high glycemic, meaning that they're going to be absorbed very quickly into the bloodstream and it's going to hydrate you. So these are wonderful to include on your plate. Whey protein. This is great, especially if you plan on working out shortly after, because this is very fast digesting and it's going to deliver those amino acids to the muscles. So it's going to fuel you up and prevent that protein breakdown. And another thing, when it comes to eating your meals, especially when it comes to iftar, avoid eating huge meals, alright? You never want to stuff your face to the point where you can't even move and you cannot breathe. If you do that, you're going to feel sluggish, you're going to feel heavy, and you most likely won't even work out. You'll probably just want to go to bed. So during the time of that evening meal and the sunrise of the next morning, that is the window where you can eat and drink. So you need to use this time to replenish the body with the correct foods and fluids. What I typically do is, of course, I'll have that evening meal at iftar. And then after Taraweeh is when I work out. So after that workout, I'll have another meal full of some carbs and some protein to help replenish what I just used. And then I'll go to sleep for a little bit and then I'll wake up for suhoor. During that entire time, I drink tons of water, alright? Especially during the Taraweeh prayers. Between each prayer, I keep this entire water bottle. I try to drink all of this so I make sure that I have enough fluids in my body throughout the day. And because that time between the evening meal and the next sunrise is pretty small, it can be very difficult to get all the calories and nutrients that your body needs. That being said, this can be a good time for you to take supplements. Me personally, I'll take protein powder and I'll have these snacks that have high protein in it, like these protein cookies or protein bars. That way I can assure that I'm getting enough protein to maintain my muscle mass. I'll also take a multivitamin just to ensure that I'm getting all of my nutrients, and then I'll take a fish oil. That's something I normally take outside of Ramadan as well. Another factor you need to take into consideration is sleep. Sleep is extremely important, not just for your recovery, but also for your performance and your energy levels throughout the day. And naturally, we're going to lose a lot of sleep because you have to wake up early to eat and you're going to be up later praying. So you need to get at a very minimal 6 to 7 hours of sleep. And if you're able to take a nap throughout the day, take a nap. This is a little cheat code for everybody who's fasting. During lunchtime, instead of eating, take a quick little nap. Even if it's 10 to 15 minutes, I'm telling you, just that little nap is going to energize you and keep you going throughout the day. The final thing I want to say about this is don't forget the main goal of Ramadan. The main goal is to get closer to God. So if you're taking so much time and focus on trying to work out and eat right, then you're going to miss the entire purpose of what Ramadan is about. So don't stress about trying to work out so much or about eating all this food that you need, because you're not going to lose as much muscle as you think. And the more advanced you are, then the more you're going to retain. So have your focus on praying, reading the Quran, and getting closer to God. Training is something that should come secondary, and once Ramadan is over, you'll see how quickly you'll be able to go right back into it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and share this with anybody else who you think can benefit. I know this is going to be a different Ramadan because a lot of us are in lockdown and a lot of the mosques are closed. But don't use that as an excuse to not pray in your own home, because the blessings during this month are like no other. I hope you all have a blessed Ramadan, and I'll still be making videos throughout the month. So I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Ramadan Mubarak.